This tutorial will cover how to create the side of the wheel mount. First thing we're going to do is come up here to New. Make sure we're selected English. We're going to be working in inches. And I'll click a standard part. Come down here and hit Create. It brings up the 3D Model tab. The first thing you want to do is create a 2D sketch. It brings up the different axes. Down here in the corner you can see the X, Y, and Z axis. If you'll notice, the Y axis is the one that's going up and down. So our side plate is going to be in this general plane from where it's located on the rover. So we'll select this. And when we select this, it's actually going to rotate the plane so the Y axis is sideways. Our part is rectangular in shape, so there's lots of different ways to make a rectangle. I'll do the 2-point center. If you hover over anything, it gives you a little help on how to use it. So I'm going to left click right here at the center to put the center of my rectangle. And anywhere you drag your cursor, it makes a rectangle. It kind of previews what it's going to make for you. You don't have to worry about any of the dimensions. You're going to left click again to put the corner. We're still in the rectangle tool, so if I left clicked again, it would make another rectangle, and I do not want to do that at this point. So I'm going to right click out here in the gray area and hit OK, and that's going to finish the rectangle tool. Next thing I'm going to do is dimension this. I want to put some sizes on this. So I come up here to the dimension tool. I click that, and you can see it's highlighted. So I'm going to left click on this top part of the rectangle and just move the cursor up, and then left click to put that number. And we'll call this 6 inches. You're going to have to actually get on the rover itself and measure the size of all these parts. I'm just going to guess at some numbers here. You can see that when I hit enter, the part kind of got too big for the screen to show, so you can use the magnifying glass to zoom all. I just usually use the scroll wheel to kind of zoom out. The dimension tool is still highlighted, so I'm going to select this left edge over here. I'm going to drag the dimension over here, place it, and we'll say that that's 4 inches, and hit the check mark. Once you're done with that, you can right click and say OK. That means you're finished using the dimension tool. And if you want to move this around, once you're outside of the dimension tool, you can click on these and you can move these wherever you want to, so that it's the easiest to understand. The whole purpose of this is to make sure it's easy to see and for others to know what you're doing. Once you have the dimensions where you like them and they're the correct values, if you double click on this, you can come in here and change the value. We're going to leave it at 4 by 6. I'm going to go up here to the green arrow and click Finish Sketch. Once again, it's too big, so I'm going to use the zoom wheel on the mouse so I can see my whole part. The next thing I'm going to do is click on part of my sketch, and it's going to bring up a little menu of whether I want to edit the sketch, whether I want to revolve that, or whether I want to extrude it. And we're going to go ahead and click Extrude. Brings up a little context menu. You can grab this pointer and change this to whatever size you want to. You can also come over here, and I can extrude out the front of the rectangle. If I come over here, I'll pick the opposite direction. I can extrude out the back side of the rectangle, or I can extrude through both sides, symmetric to the front and the back. For our part, we'll just go ahead and extrude out the front, and instead of dragging on the little handle, I'm just going to enter in 0.75. Once again, you'll have to measure on the rover itself the thickness of that piece of metal. Hit the green check mark, and now we've got that green, we've got the piece of metal. On the rover, this is the wheel mount, so there's a big hole in here for the axle to go in. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to select this face right here. It gives me the option to create a sketch on that face. I can go back and edit my original sketch, or I can go back and it's going to give me the option to edit the extrude. I'm going to put a new sketch onto this part right here. So I do that, it kind of flattens it out. And we need to put a circle in here because that's the way that our part looks. So I'll go up here to the circle tool. I'm going to place the center of the circle wherever I want it, and then just drag outward and left click to make a circle. And once again, I still have the circle tool. If you make a mistake and left click, it's going to think that you're trying to make a circle. So just go ahead and click and make another circle. Right click to hit OK to escape out of it. And just go back and click on the circle. It'll be blue. It tells you that's what you have selected. And then you just hit delete. And it goes away. I want to go ahead and I want to dimension this circle so I know how big it is and also where it's located. So I come up here to the Dimension tab, and if I click on the outside of the circle, it gives me a little set of arrows to tell me that's going to measure the diameter of that circle. So we'll say the diameter of our circle looks good right about there. You can move it on the outside wherever you want to. You can put it on the inside. Whatever is going to be helpful for other people to understand what you're doing. And then we'll just make up 1.5 inches. You'll have to measure and see what that actual diameter is. So that's how big my circle is. Now I want to know where this is located in my rectangle. So I'm going to select this top down here to the center of the circle. And it gives me a little distance right there. Okay. So you can put this out here to the side. You can put it anywhere you want to. And this is a rectangle 6x4. So maybe we'll put 5 inches. Let's see what that looks like. How if I go back? If you don't like it, you can change it. I want to have that more towards the top, so I'll do 1.5 inches. The other thing I want to know is how far over horizontally this thing is. So once that dimension is placed, click on the circle, and out here, I need to go up to the side, sorry, up this way. What do I have? I've already got from the center to the top, so I need to get from the center to the side. Okay, so I selected that side and the center, and now I can place this dimension, and this is in the center. So we'll go ahead and say 2 inches there. So now I've got the center of my circle is 2 inches from this side, and the center of my circle is 1.5 inches from the top. And once again, you can go in, you can double click on those and change those dimensions. You can double click on this dimension and change the diameter of your hole as well. Just be sure to know if you're using a diameter or a radius. But this is going to look good for what we're doing. So I'm going to right click and say OK. I'm going to get out of the dimension tool. It's no longer highlighted. And now I'm going to say finish sketch. And once again, it shows me the sketch on top of my part. And the reason for making that circle is now I can go in here and I can select this circle, and it's going to bring up a little context menu of whether I want to go back and edit the circle sketch, if I want to make a hole, if I want to revolve that, or if I want to create an extrusion. And you can use the hole tool, but it's a little bit easier sometimes just to extrude. So that's what I'm going to do. And depending upon where your cursor is, if I click out here, it's going to extrude everything outside of the circle. Whereas if I shift in here, now it'll extrude everything inside of the circle. And that's what I want. It automatically kind of guesses what you want to do and extruded it at 0.75 out this way. And that's not what I want. Once again, you can kind of drag this and make a large bar out that way. But we actually want this extrusion to go in through the metal and kind of leave a negative space like we had drilled through here. Okay. So to do that, I'm just going to come down here and change the direction. So now it's gone through the other side. And instead of trying to remember what this dimension was, I can just come over here to the extent. And I say, instead of selecting the distance, I'm just going to go to the next face. You can go between something or through everything. But I just say take this circle and extrude it to the next face. And it says right there that it's gone through. So I hit OK. And now I've got a hole drilled through my part. We're going to come up here and we're going to save this. Do File, Save As. You should have a folder This is the side plate for the wheel mount. I've already got one of these that I did earlier. So we'll call this one version 2. Always want to make sure that you save your work. And now this is a part that I have saved in my folder, and I can use this part when I'm making an assembly. The nice thing about this is now that I have this, I can come over here. This is called the model tree over here on the left-hand side, and I can expand both of these extrusions. And you can come over here to the view cube, and you can click on any of these faces, and it'll show you the model from any of those perspectives. You can just grab the cube and move it around. If you like, kind of click and hold. You can always click here on the home button, and it takes you back to the original view. You can zoom in and zoom out. But if I come over here to the sketches, I can go to my original sketch, the 4x6. If I click on Edit Sketch, I can go back and change the dimensions to whatever I need them to be. So it's very useful. If I measure something wrong and this was 5 inches instead of 4 inches, I can just double click, change this to 5 inches, and let's go ahead and do it and see what it looks like. If I change this to 5 inches and hit the check mark, then it goes back and changes the sketch, and when I hit Finish Sketch, now my part is 5 inches. And if you remember, we'll click on the second extrusion. Okay, we'll click on this sketch. I'm 2 inches from this edge. So when I made my part 5 inches, it still kept it 2 inches from this edge, and it kept it 1.5 inches from the top. So all these positions, all these dimensions stay the same, even though I changed the other sketch. And so I can come in here, I can edit this sketch, and I can change the diameter of my hole, I can change the location of my hole. You can kind of do whatever you need to do. I'm going to go back to my original sketch of just my bar, and I'm going to change this back to the 4 inches. And then hit Finish Sketch. And it kind of redraws it for you. And I'll make sure that this is saved. So this is the wheel mount version 2. This is the second time I've done this. So this part is now saved. We're going to stop here for a second. I'll do a new video to show you how to do the top plate.